a lot of these things with Metallica, and this might sound a bit cliche, but it's actually really true. The music is played by us and written by us, right? But it's also played for us and written for us, which means that when we write a song, say Ride the Lightning, it's not really, we're not trying to tell anything what they should think about capital punishment or about the electric chair. We're writing it for ourselves. It's like just being honest with ourselves, and between, say, when we're together between the band or whatever, sometimes we talk about, say, case in point, capital punishment, electric chair, and we talk about it between us, and things come up, different viewpoints or whatever, and it's like we're almost writing it for ourselves. We're not lying to ourselves and saying, well, we really sort of have some fears and nightmares about capital punishment, Ride the Lightning, or suicide, Fade to Black, or being trapped in environments you can't get out of, trapped under ice, or nuclear war, fight fire with fire, or being, held by someone else or something else, like master puppets, disposable heroes, leper messiah. These are things we talk about. We're not afraid to sort of talk about them and then say, write about, chasing a girl down the street. It's like we're just being honest with ourselves, and these are some of the things that fascinate us, and some of the things that we sort of feel that it's interesting to write about this instead of writing about, running after girls or, Satan or whatever, because, which is all part of, then again,
it would clash a bit if you talk about chasing girls in the streets, or
yeah, well, it's just not really
with the music.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the way the lyrics come across and some of the ideas that are being talked about is a little bit mysterious, and also I think it just fits in really well with the music. But it's not, again, it's not purposely, the lyrics aren't purposely written to fit in with the music. They're just written about things that are fascinating us. It's like one thing that really have fascinated, me and the rest of the guys over in, like, we talked about so much and laughed at and maybe even been a bit scared of, is like, especially in America, about how people think they're so free and people think they're so independent, and it's like, which is the whole thing of what the master puppets thing is about. It's about, it's about a few, it's like people being ruled by someone else. It could be other people, it could be institutions, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be religion. I mean, it's a number of things that could be run by or ruled by, only they don't really know. It's all subconsciously, which is really what the whole thing of master, like with someone holding the dolls and all that, and ruining it, and sort of planning them out and telling them what to do, and now you move your arm and all. That's really that whole thing. And there's 4 songs on the new album that deal with that issue in 4 different ways. There's Master Puppets, which deals with someone's life being run and ruled by drugs, only he doesn't really know it and is afraid to admit it. There's the song Disposable Heroes, which deals with a young kid's life being sort of run by his parents and by the government, and them sort of being proud of him going out to war and fighting for all this stuff he doesn't know about. He's sort of just an extension of these people's war ideas and so forth, so he's a puppet in that sense. Then there's a song which people a lot of times find an interesting title. We have the title called Leper Messiah.
Yes, second song of B-side.
Yes, which is one thing, a lot of times at home in San Francisco, when me and James have been out, drinking all weekend or whatever, on Sunday night, just sort of sit on the couch, real burned out from the whole weekend. On Sunday night, American television, a lot of the channels, they have what is called sort of TV religion, or sort of, the proper word is evangelism, which is they have a preacher on television preaching, the word of God, speaking out of the Bible, talking about Jesus and whatever, right? And then he's, it's really, really interesting. It's something that really has to be believed, seen to be believed. And then he talks about, if you send me money, you can go to heaven sooner.
Well, I've seen some of those so-called new prophets, or
and it's all
preachers on TV
going. And it just basically what it does is it works on people's sort of, just people are really ignorant, and they they have this guy saying, you
I want your money.
Well, I mean, he doesn't say it directly. He
yeah.
says, God needs your money to build more churches. So if you send your money to me, I will build the churches. So he goes and buys a swimming pool and a Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
And people think that they will go to heaven sooner or have a better heaven if they send money. And just I mean, it's very, very, just people being very ignorant and being just very stupid, basically.
Yeah,
and then, I mean, so a lot of these songs deal with different types of being manipulated.
Yeah.
And these are just some of the things that interest us, so we write about them. Period.
Yeah. No,
but we're not like, which was your initial question, how do we want people to sort of receive this? I don't really think that we want people to. It's like this is what we feel. This is what we're.
I mean,
you make up your own mind. It's not. We're not pointing the finger saying you have to think. It's like we're not saying this is our statement. You should sort of agree with it. It's just this is what we feel, and that's it. You can look at it how you want.
If they really understand what you mean, they probably get even more upset. You know, if you're talking about Master of Puppets in this way.
Well, yeah. But I mean, then again, they would probably have to be us to understand it from our point of view because of the way we live and the life we live and the thoughts that we have and the beliefs and so forth. You know, I mean, middle class America. Something we could talk about hours because I'm Danish, right? And it's like for me being sort of an outsider in sort of middle class America.
You were born in Denmark. Or?
Yeah, I'm Danish, still Danish citizen. Lived 17 years in Denmark and then in 1980 came to America.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of, stuff that, I mean, you can actually talk about it for hours. And it's like, I mean, where does it, we just write songs, write lyrics, and write about things that fascinate us, and people can interpret it the way they want to. But then, like we said earlier, it's difficult for people to interpret it the way we feel about it when we write it because they're not us, so they don't really know how we look at it when we write it. So it's all really complicated, as you can sense, and it's something that we could infiltrate it so much that people wouldn't even be able to understand what I'm saying, in this interview. So it's like we should just leave it at saying that we write about things that interest us, and people can pick it up however they want to. But I'm not sure that everyone picks it up the way that we feel about the thing when we initiate.
Well, obviously it's an old statement, but it's generally known that in Europe it's difficult for people to understand what you're talking about because the lyrics are different, especially the way James sings. It's very
well, that's why we always that's why we always have lyrics in the
it's very difficult to understand. There's a lot of words like that you can't hear because it's too fast. So
that's why we have lyrics. You can sit and read them.
Yeah. So, but generally speaking, it's a bit difficult for people to. It's gonna be lyrics on this album as well.
Definitely.
Thank God for that.
You can have a look at them after if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we carry on or stop it? Because I think we are like 1 hour late on everything.
No, I mean I don't care. No, carry on. I mean. Carry on till you feel that you have enough for what you want.
Well, I think I have enough because it's like you've been talking like hell.
But we haven't covered very much. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, it's up to you. We talked a lot about the new album. Yeah.
No, it's just because you've been in Italy and you've done interviews. Well, not with me, but with other people. Probably you've been talking about Metallica. More general things about Metallica in the earlier days. So I suppose it's better.
Yeah, I mean, it's good not to talk about. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to the interview before, it was like, what sort of food do you like? I mean.
Yeah, but that's a German magazine.
Yeah, I know. So I have to sit there. Yeah.
German magazines are like that.
I know, but it's more interesting. It's been this. I've not heard This Is Honest. I've not heard because when Ride the Lightning, when we were sort of doing press for Ride before it was actually released, a lot of people heard. I talked to some people that were disappointed with Ride the Lightning and said, but I've not yet heard one person that has said anything bad about this.
The thing is, you always, I think, that kids get used to the sound of the band. therefore we go back to the thing you said before of that band having done 12 albums and having troubles because they've always been too narrow in their and so when they changed their sound, because after 12 albums they're bored to death, the kids are going to go, what? Like Motorhead, change the sound. The kids are going to go, what is this? For you?
Right. Yeah. That's me, I'm supposing. But I just think that we've gone about doing that. Yeah. I think we've gone about doing
but it's just a matter of getting them to understand it. Yeah. But I think it should be very difficult.
Yeah, because we've just never limited ourselves to any one thing in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why it's like wherever we go, we're not changing because we have that basis covered somewhere on what we're doing right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If on the next album it's all speed, and we have that basis covered. If on the next album we do all soft blues stuff, I mean, there's shit like that on the fucking album. So it's like, I mean, you can't suddenly say that's all new because I mean, and I'm not saying, again, it's like we don't, you know, we're not so varied just so we're on the safe side, but we're so varied because we like to play these all different things and they work better for us. You know, some of the things just work better when the different moods change all the time. Yeah. And it's just more interesting. Also more interesting to write them. Yeah. It's like a challenge when we take, you know, it's like some bands, you know, they sit down to, I mean, it's so funny. I laugh every time I see an interview. Someone goes, we wrote 35 songs in 2 weeks, and then we sat down and picked out the 10 best. It's like, I mean, I can't do anything but laugh because, I mean, we have 8 songs, right? It takes us fucking 8 months to write 8 songs, you know? It's like we're the slowest in the world, but we also come about it.
You're slowest.
Slowest writing. Yeah. But we also approach the whole thing. Oh, that was the clock. No, we also approach it differently. We take like 8 songs. It's like, here's our next album. These are the 8 songs. And then we like work on each of them until they're as good as they can get. Yeah. We don't, you know, like.
Well, especially the way they're structured. You have it's like.
I mean, it really
lots of pieces put together like a collage. I mean, a puzzle.
You know, if people, it could be really funny one day to. I mean, it could be funny to like release an album of how some of these, like release an album of me and James writing the songs in the garage at home, because like, and then you could hear that. You hear like 3 minutes of Damage Incorporated, right? Used to be in Disposable Heroes, and you know, the whole middle part of Master of Puppets used to be in another song, and you know, 3 minutes of something on the new album was left over from a song from the first album and things like that.
Yeah, it's a collage.
Yeah, it's like bits and pieces, you know, tied together that just work the best as we can make them work.
Well, I went to see Exciter in the studio. I mean, they're very nice guys. But then you go to listen to the while they're mixing, right? And you listen to just the drum part. It's just the same for the whole thing. You listen to the bass. It's just and then it's all just the leads on top and the old bits and pieces, all the curls on top that make the songs different one from the other. But it's so similar. I mean, I bet that people take 4 days. Those bands take 4 days to write 10 songs because they're just the same.
I mean, if you've heard, there's some stuff on here. It's like, I mean, when me and James write songs together, it's like, I mean, the amount of stuff that we say, wait a minute, that's a little bit like this thing, and we just throw it away. And there's so many places like when, you know, we had things on this album where it's like, listen to it, wait a minute, that sounds a little bit like something on Ride the Line, just throw it away. You know, because like, I mean, you got to be careful just not to repeat yourself. And it's like, I mean, I just think that these 8 songs, it's like, they just really work. I also think that one thing that's really important, I think the album works better as a whole album. It's like you start at Battery and play the whole album and end up in Damage, and then it works really well like that. I think, I'm not saying, what I'm trying to say is I think the whole album as a whole is better than taking 2 or 3 of the songs out by themselves because they all fit so well with each other.
Yeah, but like I thought the B side of Ride the Lightning is very well structured. I mean, I think the four songs of the B side, like Ride the Lightning, are very the fourth, are very well structured.
Yeah.
You know, they just fit perfectly.
I think
it's not. So
I mean, that's the same. I mean, actually, that's one thing that's interesting about this, because a lot of bands, they do the record and then they sit down after the record's done. I tell you, we had the running order of the album planned out before the songs were written. If you can understand it.
Yeah.
I tell you, we had. I mean, the running order, side 1, side 2 songs
I know.
was planned out. Probably when we had maybe 4 complete songs, the main ideas for about 2 or 3 songs, and like 1 riff for the last song. The running order was planned out. I don't know if that says something about that it works to, because it just works, as a full album that way, instead of, I mean, and there was at one point we're saying, because a lot of people feel that the song Welcome Home Sanitarium is one of the strongest songs on the album, last song on side 1, and that could be a song that could maybe do something on American radio. Of course, it was not written for the radio, but it's a song people, the record company may say this could maybe do quite well, and say it's placed last on the album.
Yeah.
And because the album is
the last one.
Yeah, last one on side 1. Because the album is so long, 27 minutes aside, the quality of the sound is a little bit less because you have so much music on. You only have so much room on a record, right? So usually the songs that tend to suffer sound-wise are the last song, the further down you get on the record. So like the end of the album is maybe a little bit less sounding than the beginning of the album.
I know,
And then Sanitarium was hanging out at the end of side 1, and people were going, why don't you try and move that around a little bit? And we sat down, and it was just like, it was impossible to move it. It was impossible to just not have it the way that these 8 songs are in a row, because the whole flow of how the album works would just not be the same.
Would it
with different tempos and moods and feels and stuff like that?
Just an idea. Would you think it would be to stretch the thing too much? You have like a side, one song that lasts the whole side of an album. I mean, you ever thought of doing something like that? A big.
No, I don't. No.
You think you're stretching it too much? Yeah.
I think.
No, just came it.
I don't know. Now that if I really think of it seriously, I think that would be really bad to do.